Thank you for tuning in to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast, a no judgment zone podcast that covers lifestyle, entertainment, news, and sports. Even though KC doesn't watch sports, but these are minor details. By the way, he reads tarot cards too. Yes, I really mean it. He reads tarot cards too. And now, the host you've tuned in for, KC Phoenix.
Welcome to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast. I, of course, am your host, KC Phoenix. Good morning from Texas. Okay, this story, I came across it and I was like, okay, this is so cute. It's cute and it's funny, and I was just like, I want to talk about this. Because I never would have thought that this was something that existed. And even though you could question, like, why were we invested, by we, I'm just talking about humanity. Why was science investing money in this? The only thing I can think of is that maybe they're looking to take some of the information and then find a way to mimic it in the human body. Who knows? But we're not going to get into all of that. What we will get into is this. Before I go any further, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Let's go ahead and talk about these hamsters that are alcoholics, according to this article. So the article says hamsters are nature's heaviest drinkers. It says it's pretty humiliating to lose in a drinking contest to a hamster. Do you fancy yourself as somebody who can hold their liquor like a champion? Well, we have bad news for you. There's an animal that could drink you under a table without even trying. But what is this animal? It has to be something huge, right? Maybe an elephant or a giraffe or something. Nope. It's a hamster. We know it sounds ridiculous, but researchers have found that hamsters can down relatively ridiculous amounts of booze without getting more than just a little bit tipsy. I entered the little part in there. Not only are hamsters drinking heavyweights, they also absolutely love alcohol. Tom Lawton, a UK doctor, said on Twitter that the tiny rodents will pick alcohol over water, given the chance. See, that's why I titled this Hamsters Are Alcoholics. Our only question is, why are researchers giving hamsters booze to chug? Okay, so I wasn't the only one asking this. Giving hamsters booze to chug. Suppose it helps us understand animal biology. I'm fine. This is just my 17th drink. Of course, the amount of alcohol wouldn't likely get a human being even slightly buzzed unless you're a total lightweight, relatively speaking. However, they can down absolutely liver-busting quantities of hooch. According to Gwen Lupfer, a psychologist at the University of Alaska who has researched hamsters and their drinking habits, they regularly consume about 18 grams of alcohol per kilogram of body weight. That's the equivalent of an average person chugging 2 regular bottles of 190 proof spirits. If you're more of a wine drinker, that's 21 bottles of wine every single day. Hamsters' heavy drinking habits aren't exactly news, though. We've known since the 1950s that they love alcohol. We have? Okay. That's when researchers noticed that they could outdrink lab rats. But alcoholic hamsters aren't something that you only find in labs. Even in the wild, hamsters regularly consume alcohol. From where? And since there's nobody around to hand a bottle of vodka, they brew the booze themselves. Okay, this is getting too weird. All right, hold on. I got to get situated in my chair. For those who can't tell, I have not read this article. All right, it says, over the summer and fall, hamsters in the wild will hoard various seeds and fruit into their underground burrows. Once stored, the sugars in the plants will begin to ferment and turn into alcohol. Through the winter months, the hamsters will happily snack away on their increasingly alcoholic stash. Come spring, whatever's left can actually be quite potent. Water, no thanks. As we mentioned, hamsters aren't just able to tolerate high amounts of alcohol. They also really, really love the strong stuff. You just put a bottle of unsweetened Everclear on the cage and they love it, Lufer summarized for The Atlantic. The taste for booze isn't a feature that's present in just some hamsters. All hamsters, according to scientists, will grab the bottle. You could take a hamster right from the pet store and give it grain alcohol, it would happily drink, said Danielle Gulick, an addiction researcher at the University of Florida. We have way too many people researching this. In fact, if a hamster can choose between water and booze, it will pick booze. Researchers have tried to give them all kinds of tasty non-alcoholic drinks, like tomato juice or sugar water, but they always go for alcohol. The only alternative that's even remotely worked is chocolate milkshakes. But even that's... okay, that's a typo. But even that won't sober up the hamsters. They'll just cut back to the equivalent of 50 pints of beer a day. Overactive livers. So what is the hamster's secret? Is there something we can learn from them that can help us drink more when we're going out to have a good time? Unfortunately, no. At least not unless you somehow dramatically alter your basic biology. Honestly, this is where this is going. We can go talk... That's a whole nother subject. I'll save it for another day. Let's just stick with this. The reason for hamsters' incredibly high and I added the word high alcohol tolerance lies in their livers. I said lives. Lies in their livers. Try saying that 3 times fast. As you undoubtedly know, or should at least, alcohol is processed and disposed of in the liver. Hamsters' livers are absolute beasts in processing alcohol. Additionally, any alcohol they drink moves straight from their stomachs to the liver, explained Looper. As a result of their ridiculous metabolism, very little alcohol actually enters their bloodstream. This means that a hamster can really get drunk. Can't really get drunk. During her research, Lutzer devised a wobble scale to measure hamster intoxication. The scale goes from 0, walking perfectly straight, to 4, falling over drunk and refusing to get up. No matter how much hamsters drink, they will never surpass 0.5 on the wobble scale. The only way to get a hamster blasted is to inject alcohol directly into their abdomens. Okay, that just got kind of mad scientist creepy. That shouldn't surprise anyone, though. Imagine how you'd react if someone pumped a bottle of whiskey directly into your bloodstream. No, do not try that. You're not a hamster. You will die. Okay. So this little article was interesting. I just wanted to cover it. For those who have Monday off, you're starting back your Tuesday with something that might make you chuckle. If you still worked on Monday and you're working today, still this might make you chuckle. I just found it interesting, and I'm not one of the people who has known this since the 1950s, like they said. And I have a feeling that some of the people who listen to this podcast probably didn't know this haven't known this since the 1950s. But yeah, I learned something new. Hamsters are alcoholics. Who would have thunk it? Let me get going. I have things to do. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Until next time, be blessed.